Because we know that the corporate farms are out there, but the loss of family farms, what significance is that to America?
Well, here's what's happening. As we lose our family farms, we're depending on fewer and fewer places to provide our food. You know, fewer larger operations, not only farms, but agribusiness companies and food companies and everybody else. So as we lose our farms, we lose that economic diversity that gives us strength. When you've got a wide variety of businesses of all different sizes in any industry providing a good or a service, you've got all kinds of competition, you got all kinds of choices, you got all kinds of options. You have resiliency in the face of disaster, and we're losing the family farms that provide that resilience in the face of disaster. So a perfect example of this, and I say perfect, is not a good thing. The seminal example is what happened during COVID. Everybody remembers being in the store, not being able to get the food that you needed. And if you could, the price was way higher. And the price of food is still through the roof, partially because of COVID and partially because of similar supply chain crises since. Well, while that was going on, farm families like ours were dealing with having challenges selling their products. So how do you have
Mhm.
people in the store not able to get the food they need and farmers over here trying to figure out how to sell their goods? The reason is because the supply chain was locked up. And so what's happened is, as we've lost so many of our family farms and as our supply chain has become dominated by a really highly integrated, highly concentrated industry with, you know, a couple large players, it has
Mhm.
made it so that there are fewer paths for food to get from the farm gate to the dinner table. So you have one great big distribution center go down, that affects our food supply. And it's not just COVID. It's happening right now with bird flu. Why are the price of eggs through the roof? Well, bird flu is wiping out our egg supply. Well, if we had more small farms all over the country where you could buy, yes, from the grocery store or from your national supply chain outlets, but you could also buy eggs more easily locally and regionally, we wouldn't have the supply issues. And so we wouldn't have the food security issues. We wouldn't have the prices going through the roof. And so this is getting worse as we lose our farms each year.
Mhm. And so if you could, what are some of the steps that you think that people can do to support local farms?
Yeah, the reality is that we're not just losing the farms that feed us, but we're losing a part of ourselves. The
Mm.
idea that farming is a profession that has really defined in many ways our country. America had a great expanse of land and ample natural resources. And one of the things that has wound into our country from the beginning for people of all walks of life is that at one time we were a largely rural country and so many people were part of agriculture and part of farming. And although that's changing in many ways, it's good that we progressed into developing other industries and all that stuff. Farming and working the land is a big part of who we are. And so
Mhm.
we are endangering our food supply. Our food is becoming less secure. It's becoming more expensive. It's becoming less healthy. All these things are tied to the loss of our farms, but we're also losing a part of ourselves. We're losing a part of our identity. And, I'm so grateful to have grown up on a farm and the kids who get to do farm tours. We hosted a lot of those at our farm. You learn about hard work. You learn about the circle of life. You learn about so many things that I think are just so important for us as a country to understand. And as we lose those farms, we endanger our food supply. We lose a source of so many of those important values. And our rural urban divide really grows, the division between people who are from rural areas and urban areas. And that's before you even get into right or left or anything else.
Mhm.
It increases our divisions when we have people in parts of the country that don't understand each other. And
Mhm.
not understanding what's going on in our farms means that a lot of people in farm country feel left behind. There's a lot of frustration and strife around that. And also, people in urban and other areas don't necessarily understand where their food comes from. So they can't make choices that hold our policymakers accountable for doing the right thing. And so we got a lot of policymakers that have no idea what's going on a farm, let alone how it affects our food supply. And so we lose all those things as we lose our farms.